Today, we are going to talk about what you need to have in your portfolio to ensure that you are secured in this new agentic AI world.
Welcome to Kaseya Connect. I'm Scott Campbell with the Global Technology Industry Association, the vendor-neutral nonprofit trade association serving the IT channel. And we are here with GTIA on location in Las Vegas this week at Kaseya Connect. And I am very excited to be joined right now by our first guest, Jason Manar, the Chief Information Security Officer for Kaseya, and the first ever CISO at Kaseya. Jason, thank you so much for joining us.
Scott, thank you. It's really exciting. It's wonderful. I just have to give a shout out to your entire team that the audience is not going to see behind here. It takes a village, and I just want to thank them for all the hard work and effort that they've done, even setting this up and getting you here to this location.
Well, I appreciate it. Look at all the smiles back there. Everybody's very happy right now, so thank you very much. So a little bit more about you. Before you joined Kaseya, you spent 15 years in the FBI, a special agent, focused on cybersecurity. So I really want to start there. What is one case or one story that kind of still haunts you, or you still most remember?
Wow. So there's so many things that I most remember with the FBI, and I'm so gracious to the FBI to have the experience that most of the time most people don't ever get unless you're in some other industry where you're consulting and you're at a Deloitte or you're at one of the big four. So I got to work with CISOs around the world. But one of the things that I still think about today that I think is relevant to private industry as well is what could we have done better together? And what I mean by that is, yes, we had numerous joint initiatives with foreign law enforcement, with direct law enforcement here on the States, but what could we have done with a total effort with cybersecurity? Meaning that we had a multi-year, 8-year plan that spanned, any kind of political environment and engaged every single, true major player in the cybersecurity space. Because, what I see out here, and quite frankly, what we got criticized a lot when I was in the FBI, is it feels like you're playing whack-a-mole. I am not by any means disparaging or minimizing the efforts of our wonderful law enforcement. It is a very, very difficult job. But we have thousands of very intelligent people across the country and around the world that are all trying to do similar things. And just like out here in the private sector, if we put our heads together and if we really try to focus on one true initiative, I think we're going to have a more meaningful impact.
Well, it's actually funny you say that. One of the things GTIA is working on is Consortium for Responsible IT Services. It's something we're doing, a project we're doing with Texas A&M. We've got other vendors, Microsoft, Pax8, others being a part of it. And that is what we're working on, is much to get IT service providers and everybody in the IT channel kind of focused on cybersecurity on the same page and maintaining a standard. So that's something.
And it's a standard that you need before you're told that you have to adhere to one. And so at some point in time, the world is going to make us in the channel adhere to a standard. And so coming together, creating that unity, collectiveness, and that standard on our own, I think is going to be tremendously meaningful. And it is going to have that type of impact that I frankly just spoke about.
That's awesome. So I want to go back a little bit. When you first joined Kaseya, you talked about the need to build a cyber culture from the ground up. So that is really interesting. I think that's where a lot of IT service providers struggle now, right? Is ingraining cybersecurity into their culture. So you can talk a little bit about starting that from scratch, Kaseya. What was the hard part about that, and what was like the challenge?
Well, the hard part is it never happens fast enough, right? When we start talking about cross-programmatic or cross-functional work, one of the things that we did that helped so much was embedding cybersecurity personnel throughout every part of the organization, having a focus on that, but really getting engagement from the top all the way down, and making sure that from the board to the C-suite, all the way down to the individual contributor, that we are talking and we are having collective conversations about cybersecurity, and that we are showing them in a meaningful way how it directly connects to them, to their customer, and to their efforts, and how it's going to keep them more safe, the customer more safe, and oftentimes, even in our program, start talking about how to protect their families and telling them about things that they can do within their own home to help themselves protect them and their loved ones. And then you start seeing a shift in thinking. You start hearing the conversations in the hallway. And then before you know it, you've got the momentum and you've got some urgency. You've got people seeing something, saying something, and bringing things forward. And that's when you know that the culture has started to shift.
And that's awesome. That is sounds like a really great framework. And kind of to extend that to IT service providers at that level, that's more education of their own employees, right? And getting more people involved. Because theoretically, every employee at an IT service provider organization should be able to have a cybersecurity conversation with a customer, with a prospect, with each other, correct?
Absolutely. Now, your security team is going to play a major, major role in this. Long gone are the days of security being the land of no, or the security just saying no to things. One of the things that we have built is making sure that we have platforms that provide lanes, if you will, paths and guardrails to allow someone to develop things securely. Now, obviously, you don't get there overnight, because most of the time, if you don't have that right culture, you don't have those frameworks, you don't have those controls, you don't even have the policies. But if you build it right, and if you build it in a way that is less frictionless, people start seeing that you all of a sudden, instead of the land of no, right, you are actually helping them. You are actually providing them an easier road, an easier path. And at the end of the day, amazingly, they see bugs go down. They see bug fixes go down. They see that at the end of the day, they're actually spending less time on doing a lot of things that they had to rework before that they didn't even attribute to security.
And success breeds more success then,
Success breeds more success. And then what's wonderful is you rely, somewhat less and less on the existing training structure and program, and you get a train the trainer model where you have people that are not only embedded that are doing the training, but now people that are buying into the vision, buying into the actual culture, and they are leading and correcting, and it has totally changed the entire environment.
So let's talk about where is Kaseya's cyber culture today and what's next, both in terms of, Kaseya's cyber culture, but also what's next in cyber environment in general. Like, I'm assuming agentic is going to play a major role, in 2026, 7 and forward.
Well, it's going to play a major role not only in Kaseya, but everywhere. You're going to hear some very exciting announcements on agentic, AI tomorrow, actually. So I'm really excited about
Teaser.
that. Really excited about that. Agentic agents and agentic technology has transformed the world already, and it's going to continue to do so. How has it transformed the security landscape? I believe in the next 12 to 18 months, a huge shift where we no longer have months, weeks, years in some cases to react to these vulnerabilities. We have to come up with systems in place that can remediate literally almost as quickly as we find them. We're talking minutes instead of hours, weeks, months, and days. So that is really going to change. And quite frankly, in the next 12 to 18 months, those that aren't ready for it, they're going to experience a lot of pain. And so what that means is you really are going to have to focus on those programs. You're going to have to use AI to detect and also to remediate.
So when you talk about those that aren't ready, are going to be feeling the pain, one of the interesting, maybe revealing statistics we had from our State of Cybersecurity Research report this year was only about 31% of IT service providers consider cybersecurity a core capability. So less than a third consider cyber a core capability, but that's got to change pretty quickly, right? So maybe down to brass tacks, what are 2 or 3 steps that you think service providers need to start doing like now?
Yeah. We saw this even when I was in the FBI and I worked 1,000 different intrusions. You would go to an intrusion and people would be just in disbelief that this could happen to them, even though they realized that they had years and years of historical debt, that they had been kicking the can down the road of even hiring security personnel and individuals that could actually build a program for them. So to your question, what can we do in this world of AI other than first and foremost starting to get your house in order and understanding that you don't have the time to remediate these vulnerabilities like you used to, and having a solid patching program, having a solid vulnerability management program. And so at the end of the day, the one thing that you can do is constantly audit that access management, constantly making sure that at the end of the day that you don't have every single person in your organization as a super admin, right? Or as an admin. And that you are ensuring that whether it's an agentic agent that needs access, that's doing remediation or doing something on your behalf, that it just has the level of access that's needed. So access level controls is one of the things and one of the areas you really need to make sure is buttoned up and buttoned down.
Jason, I can't thank you enough. That is some really great advice, and I really love this, and I'm looking forward to hearing more at Kaseya Connect this week, all about cybersecurity and agentic and automation. All the A's are going to be here this week, right?
I love it.
All right, thank you again, Jason. Very
pleasure.
much.
Thank you. Really appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
And thank you for watching GTIA on Location. Again, check out a lot more content coming from Kaseya Connect. Check out the playlist on our YouTube channel, and we'll be back soon.